Welcome to True Crime Insider. Today, we delve into a chilling tale that blurs the lines of love, betrayal, and tragedy. A seemingly innocent affair spirals into a deadly confrontation, leaving a family shattered and a community in shock. Join us as we uncover the shocking details of a woman's affair with her daughter's boyfriend that ultimately ends in murder. Meet Julie Comley, a mother in her early 50s who worked as a dedicated nurse at the local hospital. Known for her compassion and commitment, she spent her days caring for patients and providing comfort to families during their most challenging times. Outside of work, Julie was deeply involved in her community, volunteering at the local animal shelter and organizing charity events to support those in need. Her warm smile and approachable demeanor made her a beloved figure among friends and neighbors. Julie's life revolved around her family. She was incredibly proud of her daughter, Kelsey Stark, a bright college student with aspirations of becoming a veterinarian. Their bond was strong, built on shared experiences and mutual support. Julie also adored her granddaughter, Ruby Gates, who brought immeasurable joy into her life. Together, they created countless memories filled with laughter and love. However, beneath this picture-perfect facade lay complexities that would soon unravel, leading to unforeseen consequences that would forever alter their lives. This secret involved Kelsey Stark and her boyfriend, Alfred Garrison, a charismatic and charming young man who had captured Kelsey's heart. On the surface, their relationship seemed idyllic, a picture of young love. But beneath the surface, there was a hidden dynamic, a secret that would lead to unimaginable consequences. This was not a simple case of domestic violence, nor a crime of passion driven by a jealous lover. This was something far more complex, a tragedy that transcended the usual boundaries of a love triangle. It involved a betrayal of trust, an emotional entanglement that defied societal norms and challenged the very foundations of family. The fateful day began like any other, with the sun rising over the sleepy town. Julie, consumed by her secret affair, was determined to spend the day with Alfred, leaving Kelsey with Ruby. She made excuses to her daughter, claiming a sudden meeting with a client, though her real intentions lay with Alfred. Later that afternoon, Kelsey, oblivious to the tumultuous secret that had taken root in her life, received a frantic call from a neighbor. Her mother, Julie, had been found dead in her home. The news hit Kelsey like a tidal wave, leaving her reeling in disbelief and shock. She rushed home, only to be met by a scene of chaos and despair. The crime scene was a chilling testament to the violence that had taken place. Police tape cordoned off the area, officers swarmed around the house, and the air crackled with an unspoken tension. As Kelsey stumbled towards her mother's house, the harsh reality of her situation crashed upon her. There, in the living room, lay Julie, lifeless, her once vibrant life extinguished. The sight was horrifying, the image seared onto Kelsey's memory. The police investigation quickly established that Julie had been brutally murdered. The details of her death were gruesome, the brutality evident in the visible wounds on her body. The news of Julie's murder spread through the town like wildfire. Friends and neighbors were stunned, struggling to reconcile the image of the kind, loving woman they knew with the horrific reality of her death. Kelsey, torn between grief and disbelief, grappled with the loss of her mother while trying to comprehend the impossible, her mother's secret life and its devastating consequences. The small town that had once felt safe and familiar was now shrouded in a palpable sense of fear and unease. The murder, so senseless and brutal, shook the community to its core. The murder of Julie was a major blow to the town's sense of security, and the police, under the command of seasoned Detective Sergeant Randy Reynolds, were determined to find Julie's killer. The initial investigation focused on Julie's immediate circle of family and friends, with special attention paid to the volatile nature of her secret relationship with Alfred. Detectives questioned Kelsey, searching for clues, but her grief and shock hindered her ability to offer anything concrete. However, as the investigation progressed, detectives began to uncover disturbing patterns in Julie's life. They found evidence of Julie's secret relationship with Alfred, including intimate emails, text messages, and a series of clandestine meetings. The discovery of Julie's affair sent shockwaves through the investigation. The police now had a new lead, a potential motive, and a complex web of relationships to unravel. Meanwhile, the media frenzy surrounding Julie's murder intensified. Reporters swarmed the town, eager to uncover any shred of information that could shed light on the shocking crime. Detective Randy Reynolds and his team faced an uphill battle. Public pressure mounted as the days turned into weeks, and the town held its breath, desperately seeking answers. The case was a puzzle with missing pieces, a tangled web of secrets and motives. But Detective Reynolds remained determined. He knew that somewhere, hidden within the shadows of this seemingly peaceful town, lay the truth. And he wouldn't rest until he brought Julie's killer to justice. Alfred, Julie's secret lover and the man at the center of the tragic love triangle, quickly emerged as a prime suspect. He was a charismatic and charming individual with a mysterious past. He had a history of unstable relationships and a volatile temper, raising red flags for the police investigating the case. Alfred claimed to have spent the day of the murder at a friend's house, offering a detailed alibi that included a series of texts and calls that corroborated his story. However, police were skeptical, questioning the timing of his alibi and the veracity of his claims. They discovered that Alfred had deleted his internet history and some of his call logs, further fueling their suspicion. The police were particularly intrigued by Alfred's close connection to both Julie and Kelsey. He had played a manipulative role in their lives, exploiting the vulnerabilities of both women, and his motives were shrouded in secrecy. He had been romantically involved with Kelsey, the daughter, while simultaneously carrying on a clandestine affair with her mother. He had a knack for charming women, feeding their desires, and manipulating them for his own benefit. His motives could range from jealousy, possessiveness, or a desire to eliminate Julie as a threat to his relationship with Kelsey. The police questioned Alfred several times, scrutinizing his alibi and probing into his past. He remained steadfast in his innocence, insisting that he had no involvement in Julie's death. However, he appeared increasingly agitated during the interviews, his demeanor shifting from confident to anxious. He often avoided eye contact, his voice shaky as he answered questions, his answers riddled with inconsistencies. "I love Julie," Alfred stated during one interview, his voice strained and filled with emotion. "She was a beautiful woman, and I cared about her deeply. But I never would have hurt her, I swear. I didn't do it." Alfred's words, though laced with conviction, seemed hollow to the police. His demeanor, his shifting stories, and his manipulative nature all pointed to a darker truth that he was desperately trying to conceal. The investigation was entering a critical phase. The police had gathered substantial evidence, piecing together a narrative that exposed a complex web of secrets and deceit. They were now closer than ever to unraveling the truth behind Julie's death. Kelsey, the daughter, initially seemed an unlikely suspect. She was the grieving daughter, mourning the loss of her mother. Her world had been shattered, and her grief was palpable. However, as the investigation unfolded, Kelsey's behavior and her complex relationship with both Julie and Alfred placed her under a growing suspicion. Kelsey had been deeply affected by her mother's secret affair. She felt betrayed and abandoned by the woman she had always considered her rock. The realization that her mother had been intimate with her boyfriend had triggered a mix of emotions, anger, resentment, and a deep sense of betrayal. The police explored the possibility that Kelsey might have been driven by jealousy or a desire to protect her relationship with Alfred. There was a possibility that Kelsey had discovered the affair and, driven by rage and a sense of betrayal, had acted out in a moment of anger. Her relationship with Julie had been strained after the discovery of the affair. While she publicly mourned her mother, Kelsey's grief seemed strained, almost distant. She often spoke of her mother with a cold detachment, hinting at a growing resentment that she had been unable to fully address. The police questioned Kelsey several times, searching for inconsistencies in her story and signs of guilt. She appeared to be a broken woman, deeply affected by the tragedy, but her grief seemed too controlled, too calculated. She was cooperative, offering detailed accounts of her mother's life and her own interactions with her, but there was an undercurrent of tension, a sense of guardedness that made the police question her true feelings. "I loved my mother," Kelsey stated during one interview, her voice cracking with emotion. "But it wasn't always easy. There were times when we fought, when things were difficult. But she was still my mother, and I loved her." Her words, though laced with emotion, lacked the raw, visceral grief that the police expected. Her composure, her controlled responses, and her guarded demeanor hinted at a deeper truth that she was trying to conceal. A turning point in the investigation came with the discovery of a hidden diary belonging to Julie. The diary, tucked away in a secret compartment in her bedroom, revealed a shocking truth. It detailed Julie's emotional turmoil, her feelings of guilt and regret over her secret affair, and her growing fear of Alfred's manipulative nature. In the diary, Julie wrote about her growing fear of Alfred, detailing his controlling behavior and his escalating threats. She had confided in her diary her fears of Alfred's potential violence and her desperate attempts to break free from his control. The diary entries painted a stark picture of a woman trapped in a dangerous and abusive relationship. They also offered a chilling insight into the dynamic between Julie and Alfred, revealing the true nature of their relationship and providing a possible motive for his actions. The discovery of the diary had a profound impact on the case. It provided new insights into Julie's relationship with Alfred, and it contradicted Alfred's portrayal of himself as a loving boyfriend. The evidence suggested that Julie was the victim of an abusive and manipulative relationship, and Alfred was a man capable of extreme violence. Furthermore, forensic analysis of the crime scene revealed the presence of a unique, rare type of pollen on Julie's clothing. The pollen was traced back to a specific variety of wildflowers found only in a secluded meadow near Alfred's residence. This discovery added another piece to the puzzle. Alfred, who had previously insisted he had been at his friend's house on the day of the murder, was now tied to the crime scene by a trail of evidence. The evidence was mounting, and the police were closing in on the truth. Alfred's story was unraveling, his carefully constructed alibi crumbling under the weight of new discoveries. The case was now poised to take a dramatic turn, with the police ready to confront Alfred with the weight of the evidence against him. The investigation had taken a significant turn, and the truth was about to be unveiled. The evidence was overwhelming, and the police were ready to hold Alfred accountable for his actions. The evidence against Alfred is stacking up, but the truth is far more twisted. Don't miss the shocking reveal, subscribe and like this video, and stay tuned, because this isn't the end of the story. There's a whole lot more to uncover. With the evidence mounting, the police finally had enough to issue an arrest warrant for Alfred. He was apprehended at his workplace, a scene that unfolded in a flurry of activity. Police officers, armed with the warrant, swarmed the building, disrupting the routine of the office. As Alfred was escorted out of the building, surrounded by police officers, he looked visibly shocked and shaken. The news of his arrest spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the community. Public reaction to Alfred's arrest was a mixture of disbelief, anger, and a sense of vindication. The town had been consumed by the mystery surrounding Julie's murder, and the news of Alfred's arrest brought a sense of closure to the ordeal. The media portrayed Alfred as a charming predator, a man who had manipulated and betrayed both Julie and Kelsey. His image was splashed across newspapers and television screens, painting him as a sinister figure, a villain in a real-life tragedy. Alfred's defense attorney, a seasoned legal professional known for her aggressive tactics, immediately went on the offensive. She argued that Alfred was being framed, that the evidence against him was circumstantial, and that the police had focused their investigation on him from the beginning, ignoring other potential suspects. She painted a picture of a victim, highlighting Alfred's innocence and emphasizing the lack of concrete evidence linking him to the murder. She portrayed Julie as a volatile woman prone to extreme jealousy, suggesting that she could have staged her own death to frame Alfred. One of the most dramatic moments during Alfred's arrest involved a confrontation with Kelsey. As he was being led out of the building, Kelsey appeared, her face filled with a mix of anger and confusion. "You did this," she yelled at Alfred, her voice shaking with rage. "You took my mother from me." The encounter between Alfred and Kelsey captured the raw emotions at the heart of this tragic case. It was a moment that showcased the devastating impact of this crime on everyone involved, even those who were not directly responsible. The trial of Alfred, the man accused of murdering Julie, became a sensational media event. The small town was transformed into a courtroom drama, with the eyes of the nation focused on the proceedings. The prosecution presented a compelling case, meticulously weaving together the evidence against Alfred. They laid out his relationship with Julie, highlighting the manipulative nature of their affair. They presented the diary entries, revealing Julie's fear of Alfred and his controlling behavior. They also presented the forensic evidence, the pollen found on Julie's clothing, which directly linked Alfred to the crime scene. The defense, however, countered these arguments with a passionate defense of Alfred's innocence. They painted Julie as a volatile woman, prone to dramatic outbursts and impulsive behavior, and suggested she might have staged her own death to frame Alfred. The jury, tasked with weighing the evidence and making a decision on Alfred's guilt or innocence, faced a difficult task. They saw the diary, the forensic evidence, and the compelling testimony from witnesses who had observed Julie's fear of Alfred. But they also heard the passionate arguments of the defense, highlighting Julie's volatile nature and the lack of concrete evidence directly linking Alfred to the murder. The tension in the courtroom was palpable as the jury deliberated. The weight of the case, the lives of those involved, and the eyes of the nation were all focused on their decision. The trial, in its entirety, presented a complex picture of a relationship gone awry, a love triangle turned deadly, and a tragic loss of life. It was a story that captivated the nation, raising questions about love, betrayal, and the consequences of hidden secrets. The truth, however, remained hidden until the jury reached their verdict. As the jury filed back into the courtroom, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Kelsey sat in the front row, her heart racing. The foreperson stood, cleared her throat, and delivered the verdict, "Not guilty." Gasps echoed throughout the room, and Kelsey felt a wave of disbelief wash over her. Alfred's defense had been compelling, but Kelsey couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. As the crowd dispersed, she caught sight of Alfred's smirk, an expression that unsettled her deeply. It felt as if he had gotten away with something far more sinister than mere innocence. Determined to uncover the truth, Kelsey began her own investigation. She revisited the places her mother had frequented, spoke to old friends, and dug deeper into Julie's life. One evening, while sifting through her mother's old belongings, Kelsey stumbled upon a hidden compartment in Julie's jewelry box. Inside was an envelope containing a series of photographs, images of her mother with a man Kelsey had never seen before. Kelsey managed to track down Mark, who reluctantly agreed to meet with her. Over coffee in a dimly lit cafe, he shared the shocking truth: Julie was investigating Alfred. She believed he was involved in something much darker than just their relationship. Mark explained that he had uncovered evidence linking Alfred to a local drug ring and that Julie had been gathering information to expose him. She feared for her life, he said gravely. But she was determined to bring him down. Kelsey's heart raced as she pieced it all together. Julie hadn't staged her death, she had been silenced before she could reveal what she knew. But who had killed her? Was it Alfred himself, or someone else connected to the drug ring? Driven by this new revelation, Kelsey sought out the police department. She presented Mark's findings, and after some initial skepticism, Detective Reynolds agreed to reopen the investigation. They began to dig deeper into Alfred's connections, uncovering a network of crime that extended far beyond what anyone had imagined. As they followed the leads, they discovered that Alfred had indeed been involved in drug trafficking and had powerful allies willing to do anything to protect their operation. It became clear that Julie had stumbled upon something dangerous and had paid the ultimate price for her courage. With mounting evidence, authorities arrested several individuals tied to Alfred's operation. Alfred was implicated not as the sole murderer but as part of a larger conspiracy involving others who wanted Julie out of the picture. The trial shifted focus once more, this time toward those who orchestrated Julie's murder. As Kelsey watched the new proceedings unfold, she felt a sense of justice finally taking shape, not just for her mother, but for all those affected by the darkness lurking in their community. In the end, Kelsey transformed her grief into action, becoming an advocate for victims of violence and corruption. With each step she took toward justice, she honored her mother's memory and ensured that no one else would have to suffer in silence again. The story of Julie's life became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the face of betrayal and danger, truth and resilience could shine through the darkest of times. And as Kelsey stood before a crowd at a community rally months later, she felt her mother's spirit beside her, guiding her toward a brighter future for everyone touched by tragedy.